Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about this Ruger American Gen 2 Predator in 7mm PRC. After getting that 22 Creedmoor, I was really impressed by the accuracy for a sub $600 rifle. So I figured, why not try the 7mm PRC, a very popular caliber for elk and most North American big game. Before we dig too much into what I found or kind of the setup I did, let's talk about the specs. It is a 22-inch barrel, including the muzzle brake. I shot this for 3 shots without the muzzle brake on. The muzzle brake does make a difference. It does reduce recoil a little bit. If you were worried about recoil, I'd maybe look into a little bit better muzzle brake, or most suppressors will help with recoil a little bit. The price on this rifle, normal price at say Shields, is going to be $5.99, but occasionally Ruger will have them on sale. Grumblings are for Black Friday, the sale is going to be on again, and you can pick them up for about $5.49. It is a 5/8 24 thread. It is a 3-round mag. It is a 1/8 right hand twist. And the rifle without the scope is about 6.5 pounds. Now we've gone over the specs, let's talk about some of the things I've done. There's a video prior to this video about kind of my system for barrel break-in. I went through, I mounted this scope. This is my test scope that I use for most rifle testing in the shop here. This is an Athlon Argos BTR Gen 2 6-24 by 50. Most of the stuff I shoot here is 100 yards, and this scope is plenty for that. It's good with recoil. I've had this on my 338 Lapula when I got it before I upgraded scopes. It's been holding up very well. I think I've tested maybe 10 different rifles with this scope in particularly. I have another one that I use for my ARs that is on a cantilever mount. Leopold rings. This isn't the scope that's going to live on this rifle. This is just what I put on here for testing. It's actually going to be getting a Gen 3 put on it. I actually have it over there on the bench. Some of the things I did to this, if you watch the break-in video, it'll go over this again, but I always take the action out of the stock, make sure everything's clean, and I retorque the action screws. While it was out, I took 1 round out of the trigger. If you guys see my 22 Creedmoor video update, I did replace the trigger on that, but that trigger was like really grainy. It had nothing to do with trigger pull weight. Just the break of it, the pull of the trigger was very grainy. This trigger is actually fairly smooth. Again, for a $600 rifle, this trigger is fairly smooth. This thing is shot exceptionally well in my eyes. Again, it's a sub $600 rifle. I'm shooting it just as it comes in the box as far as the comb height and length of pull. Again, the only thing I really adjusted was the trigger. So this barrel's pretty well fully broke in, to my standards anyway. It's got, I believe, 60 rounds down it now. So that's kind of when I get into the brass tacks of zeroing and really figuring out what I want for hunting. We were fortunate enough that I had 6 different factory offerings of ammo to test on this rifle the other day. So let's go through kind of the ammo that I tested. And I have the actual target here from the oak tree. The 6 factory offerings I tested were the Hornady ELDM, the Hornady ELDX, the Federal ELDX, the Hornady CX, the Federal Terminal Ascent, and the Federal Fusion Tip. The speeds were kind of right in where most 7 PRCs are. I don't have a whole lot of grumblings about speed. You know, originally when this came out, they were talking it was going to be a 3,000 feet per second rifle. I think a lot of it has to do with some powder shortages going on right now. The powder that they were using when they first came out with this ammunition isn't really available. So we're looking, even on like a 24-inch barrel, you're really only looking at like 2,900 is kind of your normal speeds with factory, the faster factory ammo. So the first ammo I tested, and actually I broke the rifle in with, was the ELDM Hornady factory ammo. I got an average velocity of 2734, and the 3-shot group I shot for this test target was .789. That's a pretty good group. Again, it's sub MOA, just as promised by the rifle, and I think with a couple tweaks it could potentially be a little bit better yet. The next thing I shot was the Hornady ELDX. That is shooting at 2821, and I got a group size of just over 1.25 inches, 1.28. The LDX stuff is good. I, for some odd reason, am never just overly satisfied with the accuracy of it. It always seems to not quite be as accurate as the ELDMs, even though that is advertised as ELDM accuracy, which again, teach their own opinion, but in my opinion, hand loads are far more accurate than the ELDXs. The Federal ELDXs, we have a Tika that was here on Saturday that loves them. That is the most accurate load. It was the most inaccurate load as far as cup and core style bullets goes through this rifle. It was 2847 feet per second, but it was a 2-inch group. Not overly impressed with those. The CXs were next up. I don't shoot a whole lot of CXs. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on the CXs, but they were 2883, and they were just over 1.5 inches. But I don't know if you guys can see this. It strung them out vertically. So is the group going to grow? I'd imagine. I would imagine it's going to be about 2.25. If we did another 3-shot group and overlaid it. The Federal Terminal Ascents were 2847 as well, and they were a 0.8 group. I was pretty happy with them. I haven't fully decided on what route I want to go there. And the Fusion tips were 2783 with a 0.93 group. Oh, and on this target we had a bonus 22 arc. We spun a new barrel on a 22 arc on Saturday as well, and I believe this is the second 3rd-shot group, and it was 1.19, and that barrel isn't even broken yet. But the guy shooting was looking at the wrong target, so we ended up with it on the 7mm PRC target. But I guess to summarize this, if you were going to buy one of these and you wanted to try long-range shooting, the LDMs shoot fairly well out of this. Like I said, they're just barely a squeak over 3/4 inch at 100 yards. Like I said, if you put maybe an aftermarket trigger in here, you could possibly tighten that up a little bit. Change out the stock if you were going to shoot it like, make a really budget-friendly, say like long-range gun. You can put a chassis, maybe take a little bit more out of there. As far as hunting goes, I know there's a lot of debate about using ELDMs for hunting. I know a lot of guys that use them. I know a lot of guys that say not to use them. I guess if you are using them, that is your prerogative. I don't disagree with you by any means. I just know that if you need to make a short range shot with an ELDM, you potentially can have issues. That being said, I've heard a lot of guys having issues with the longer range, more long range than traditional hunting, with the LDX is not working properly. So I guess it's one or the other. The CXs, again, I was not impressed with how they shot out of this rifle in particularly. The Federal Terminal Ascents, I've heard some good things about them. I've heard a couple grumblings about them. I'm going to have to do a little bit more testing. I am going to be taking this rifle to Wisconsin for deer hunting, and I will pick out what I'm going to use for that, just so I can get a test on it, if I can get a deer with it. So I kind of see how like the terminal ballistics are with potentially the terminal ascents, or you know, using ELDMs on deer. Again, the LDM thing, there's two sides to that coin. I do believe that it's not an unethical bullet to use. I think that it's more than capable of taking down a deer, even if it were a close range shot. I think it all comes down to shot placement on that part. You know, if it's a close range shot, try not to center punch the shoulder, I guess, would be the big thing. But yeah, so that was kind of our testing with the ammo. Again, we were fortunate enough to have 6 different kinds of ammo here, because we've been playing with 3 other 7mm PRCs before I had gotten this one. So would I buy another one of these? I think I absolutely would. I know as a fact that this shoots better than the high-end Savages. We've had 2 of those come through, and neither of those shot as good as this thing does. Again, recoil-wise, it's probably more than those rifles are, and a lot of it has to do with the brake, but a lot of it also has to do with, again, this is only, without the scope on it, a 6.5 pound gun. I think this is like a 1 pound scope, so we're only 7.5 pounds. For me, that's fine. When I'm hunting, I don't plan on shooting it a whole lot, so being a little bit lighter, a little more packable, that's just fine with me. The magazines on these, they're a little bit to be desired. It fed perfectly fine. It's just a little chintzier than I like. But again, for the price of the rifle, as long as it functions and continues to function, it won't be an issue. So yeah, that's kind of my review on this rifle. Again, sub $600. I don't think you can go wrong with one of these. You know, so far all these Ruger American Predators that I've been around have shot pretty well phenomenal. The 22 ARC Ruger American Predator, that thing shoots the factory VTs lights out. I have a hand load that I've been working on for that bolt action for the 22 ARC. That's been really good, and hopefully we're going to be doing a video on that shortly. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if I do get a deer with this in Wisconsin, I'll be sure to let you guys know. If you guys enjoyed this video at all, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.